capacitors are just off, on, off. You charge it and then...
Dude, you just invented nitrous for EVs. Why not? You could have it in a shape like a NOS bottle, but
it's just a giant capacitor. If you accidentally touch it,
it could be a pull up like, dude, how many caps do you think that guy's got?
How many caps?
Hey guys, welcome to Overcrest.
Who are you?
I forgot who I was.
Who are you? What the hell?
Wow.
I thought you were being like clever there.
No,
you legitimately.
I don't know who I am.
You forgot how to introduce the podcast.
I don't know who I am.
Who are you? Hi. Welcome.
I'm Chris. You're Jake.
That's true.
I think I was just confused because I was trying to think what we're doing because I have no idea.
No, exactly.
And that's what threw me for a loop is I'm like, I'm trying to think of, okay, how am I going to introduce this? Because I have no idea whatsoever what's going on.
Usually it's always the same. Hey guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris. That's all you had to say.
And then it's I'm Jake. And then
that's literally all you had to say.
And then I'm expected to say it's a pretty cool episode because
of things. What?
But I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
Cool.
What's going on? Tell me.
This is our Monday, Tuesday, whatever. Tuesday. We release these Tuesday, Chris.
Yes.
Yes. This is our Tuesday news episode. However, I have a special new segment that I'm introducing here.
Oh, for like weekly? Like this is going to be?
It's going to be not just this time.
Okay. So
I'm not promising it any regular interval, but we'll do it again.
All right.
Because this came about. You've been known as an encyclopedia of opinions.
Well, I love that because encyclopedias are a great resource for accurate, correct, and...
Nope, but an opinion by definition doesn't have to be correct. That's your opinion.
Yeah, but you don't put opinion...
That's your opinion.
Yeah, but you don't put opinions in an encyclopedia. Encyclopedias are full of facts, which means that if my opinions are in there, they are correct, which means my opinions are facts. Continue.
Well, it turns out... This is perfect because most of the time they're negative, right?
No, are you going to go and tell me about all the things I've been wrong about?
No, that would be great. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not an asshole. This will be more entertaining though. So it got me thinking, what are some other like hot takes or opinions out there regarding automotive culture? And there are a lot. And it turns out that our listeners had a few.
Oh,
so
okay.
I present to you a new segment.
All right. Oh boy.
You know what really grinds my gears?
This is great.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and everyone know, like Chris, kudos to you. You do all the production and editing and everything.
Yeah.
So you should be really proud.
It's great.
That I did that.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So I basically called on a few of our regular listeners to say, what is grinding your gears?
Okay.
And basically, this is all just going to be to get you going.
Okay.
So, and it wasn't prompted that. Like, this isn't, just make Chris angry. But this will be, I like this segment.
All right.
So, first up is my buddy Matt.
Okay.
And he'll introduce himself.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Jake. Is there anything that really grinds your gears in automotive culture right now? Yes, there is. I've been seeing a lot on forums and Facebook groups, people that are shaming other people for not knowing how to work on their own car. They'll even go as far as saying they're not a real car enthusiast because they don't have a wrench in their hand. That's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm so tired of seeing it. Not only does it not make any sense, it's completely false. I looked up the definition of enthusiast just for funsies. A person who is very interested in a particular activity or subject. That makes sense, right? You just have to be interested in the subject, and you're an enthusiast. You're enthusiastic about it. Just because you can't pull your engine and do a complete overhaul on your engine yourself in your own garage, spending thousands of dollars on tools, doesn't mean you're not an enthusiast. Some of the biggest car enthusiasts I know bring their car to me for me to work on. And that's 100% the truth. They live and breathe cars. That's all they care about. That's all I got. Thanks, guys. Bye.
So Matt's a real deal mechanic, as obvious by the background noise.
Yeah. So this is something this is like a really core issue in automotive enthusiast culture to begin with, is the whole built not bought thing.
Right.
And this is something that has ebbed and flowed for me. This is something that when I was younger, I truly believed.
Yeah.
I truly believed, and I think it was kind of almost like a little bit of an envy thing, right? I remember there was this one guy. His name was this was back in the VW Vortex days. It was his name was Paul. And he was an asshole. And his screen name was Chromosexual. And he would basically, in my opinion, comb through the VW Vortex, pick out all the things that were cool, and then tell some guy, hey, build me this car.
Got it.
And I think that is the type of person we're thinking about when we say that built not bought is better. Because there are people that will build a checkbook car just so they can have the cool thing.
Yes.
That is different than the person who doesn't have time or maybe the capability to learn and do, and they want to have the car, and they want to go, and they want to have the experience, and they love the cars, they love the culture, and they love all these things. However, as with any conversation that I've had on this podcast about about breadth and experience,
yes,
the breadth of experience that you have when you do your own work on your car,
yes,
does add, in my opinion, a better overall experience because you are able to reap the fruits of your labor. I can think of my apple tree that's in my backyard.
Yep.
So I've got this apple tree back there. It's only one apple tree. I don't have two of them, so they don't cross-pollinate. So I only get apples every other year.
Oh, I did not know this is a thing.
Yeah, usually it'll switch back and forth between the trees. So every other year, I get apples. We don't need to get into the science of trees. So every year,
flabbergasted.
So every other year,
you get apples.
I get apples.
Okay.
And in the years that I don't get apples, I go out there, I trim the tree,
okay,
I fertilize the tree, and I wait, and I'm excited, and I wait, and the apple blossoms come, and the tree blossoms, and then I get apples later, and I go and I pick the apples, and then I can go and I can make applesauce or cider or apple pie or whatever you want to make, or you can make
apple moonshine.
Apple moonshine. I was just going to say you can you can use grain alcohol and make a bunch of things, and I can guarantee you, that the experience that I have when I have made the thing is better than if I just go to the store, buy the apples off the shelf, come home and make it.
Yes,
because I'm not done. We're asking my opinion. Let me extrapolate my opinion, then you can respond.
Okay.
Because the whole arc of the experience is what you're doing.
Yes.
The pie is part of the experience of the apple tree and the fertilizing and the waiting. It's all one big umbrella versus the umbrella is much smaller when you're just buying the apples and making the pie.
Okay.
You're leaving out the whole other part. And that whole other part that's left out damages the height of the experience that you can have from making it with store-bought apples.
Sure.
Okay, so that's kind of what I'm getting. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make your enthusiasm less warranted because hey, you still went and bought the apples. You cooked,
that's
so you
where
could
I was
have the
going to
pie.
take this analogy.
But the breadth of experience is less.
Yes, I would agree.
I would encourage anyone to try and do as much as they can because it's not that you don't know how; it's that you don't know how yet.
That
so
gets
even
into our next one really well.
So if you are doing just little things, that's great. A lot of people. They experience their car. Maybe they spend a lot of time washing their car, right? They love the detailing of the car, but they didn't build the engine. But they love detailing the car. They get in there, and the car's perfect, and the paint is perfect. Not my thing.
No,
obviously, but I do respect that depth and that commitment to the hobby.
Right.
The guy that is just like showing up and like, hey, build me motor, and then he just shows up at Cars and Coffee. Come on.
Yes.
Like there's gradations of this. It's a very gray area. Does that address?
It does. Yeah. I was just going to say, bringing it back to our friend Matt's point, if I show up with an apple pie, I have my apple sauce.
He's probably going to do work for free because you're greasing the wheels. That's what's going to happen.
No, I'm not showing up to Matt to do it, but I'm saying in the analogy here, I can still be an apple enthusiast, even if I'm not growing the apples. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I love hand polishing those apples.
Yes, but I still think the effort to learn, because you don't have to learn how to polish apples, it just takes a while. The effort to learn and the the opportunity for failure and overcoming something is a wonderful experience to do. You don't have to do it, but the depth of the experience is better if you do. That crosses cars. That's everything.
Here's the other thing. I'm not buying the apples at the store and then posting on Instagram, making it look like I grew them on my tree.
That's true.
Which goes to our next hot take, grinding their gears, by our friend Brandon McCarthy. I don't have audio because he's sick and sounds terrible.
He has sounded terrible for a while, that poor guy.
Yes, I don't know. So anyways, he said, quote, "My number one gripe is people who in the worst possible way do it for the gram. A lot of people out there just in the car game for the likes." That's take one.
Okay.
Take two. My second biggest gripe.
Do you want to go to these one at a time?
I don't know. Sure.
Let's just.
I mean, we kind of addressed that. That's you just posting your apples.
We've talked about social media well.
Can we take the apple analogy the entire way through the episode?
I'm sorry, I came up with it. Yeah, I mean that's something that's happened.
That's a theme actually with a lot of these is the social media influence.
I'm just trying to think of ways that it happened before social media, and I think it's whether you were the guy that had to go out and buy the Jinko jeans and the Stussy like shirt and all this stuff and have the branding and whatever and have that define who you are so you could show off to other people that you could afford the brand.
I still am that.
A little bit.
I'll
You
be
are
first to acknowledge it.
I think there's a little bit of that used to happen, but now the social media wealth thing really bothers me because it's a lot of times it's inauthentic.
Yes, agreed.
And I think that's part of the problem is this social wealth that people accumulate definitely isn't a facsimile of what their real life is like. And in fact, I would say that it is a great embellishment often of what their real life is like.
Oh, yeah.
And even if they aren't trying to embellish, as an observer, you should never look at people, what they put on social media and really judge. One of my favorite guys, Jordan Peterson, says, don't judge yourself by who others are today. Judge yourself by who you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Use yourself for a barometer for improvement. It's really hard to do. But...
Well, not only that, you don't realize that what you're subconsciously comparing yourself to following social media people is the best. They're curated what they're posting. And sometimes it's not even necessarily real. And you can look at their insecurities by what they're trying to project on others. That's getting way in the weeds, but it's a whole psychological phenomenon that is a problem, is people get super depressed when they look at social media all day.
Yeah. One of the things that people always say about my social is that I will fail and I'll show people.
Yes.
I will show that I fuck this up. And it's over and over again.
Which goes into Brandon's second gripe. His second biggest gripe is in the age of unlimited knowledge, so many people are so lazy. They will not do anything to solve their own problems or even attempt to gain knowledge through research, trial, and error. I have a lot of respect for people who make an honest go at building something and going through trial by fire. The hand-out spoon-feed people suck.
Yeah, it's interesting that the more knowledge we have, like we talked last week about how I learned Fusion 360, and I was trying to learn it without additional
and I even
knowledge.
said, I was like, you realize we have friends that do this for a living professionally. Like, why didn't you just go to them?
Yeah, I do like learning, and I think people are afraid to fail, and I think this goes back to the social media thing. Is nobody wants to be perceived as a failure?
Yes, because
it hurts their social wealth or their social stature, or they think that it does, but it really doesn't.
No.
When I see somebody fuck something up, I will absolutely judge them on not that they fucked up, but how they reacted to how they fucked up.
Sure.
Okay, so
okay.
It's how you deal with failure and mistakes.
Yes.
That is what I judge. I don't judge the mistakes someone made.
Don't judge the failures. Judge the
outcome of the failure, which should be trying again, or figuring out, or learning, or whatever. Yeah,
or just acceptance. Quote. Lastly,
and dude, I mean, Jesus, man, you could learn to do almost anything, and it is truly sad what society has come down to.
Yeah, it is laziness, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
All right, still Brandon here. Lastly is the death of forums. The social media format is so poor compared to the old epic build thread days a decade ago. People used to have 50-plus page epic build threads. The old digital K-Rabbit build thread was amazing. It was a true epic adventure. Social media just doesn't allow that.
No, it doesn't, because everything disappears and stories disappear and everything like that. I think you have some. The problem is that you have YouTube, where people do build threads on YouTube.
Mhm.
You know, we can use Mike's Ferrari, for example.
Yeah.
You know, he's documented everything,
Right.
just like you would on a build thread.
The problem
is the community is not there.
Exactly.
The
back and
interactive,
forth.
like live community. But here's the thing: is Discord has come around
yes.
to fill the gap. So I talk a lot on the StanceWorks Discord. I talk a lot on the Overcrest Discord.
Yep.
And there are forums there.
Yes, there are.
There's build threads there. And I feel like the people are like needing that. And what's interesting is seeing people see it and go, wow, this is great. This is
this brings
we
me
invented
right back.
this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this so Discord is
been
great.
Here a minute.
It has filled that gap a little bit, but yeah, it's a definite bummer having that long form, that huge arc of like doing a build thread over years and then interacting with people. It was really great. It was special. I'm glad that it's kind of back in some way.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have our friend Colin.
No, what I really hate is when you walk through a parking lot and you see a bunch of cars with electric spoilers, and they all have depressed the button to put them up. It's like the 1980s with pop collars. It's terrible. Another good thing to hate is driving on the highway at night with everybody with their lights turned off because their dashes are lit up, but they are too stupid to realize that they don't have headlights.
Yeah, that thanks daytime running lights, right?
The popped up collar doesn't really affect how you move through the world. Like if it slowed you down, but it is definitely an appearance thing.
Oh,
it is. I mean, there's
which callback to a couple weeks ago. When it's down, it's a spoiler.
Yes.
When it raises, now you have a wing.
Depends on the vehicle. I think he's talking specifically about, if I'm going to guess, 911s, where the little thing comes up.
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler. It's a wing. Or wait,
it's
not a wing. It's a spoiler.
Always, because the front of it is.
It just comes up.
The 911 Turbo I had, though, is pedestals, where it'll come up and it has pedestals, and so you have a full wing underneath.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have parked with it up before.
I don't really know that I see that, I'm like, dork. You know, it's just it's someone that is, you can tell if you see somebody like that, they're definitely kind of have their toe in as an enthusiast. They want people to think that they're an enthusiast
because they have their wing
up. But it's almost like a fart can in a way, right? The fart can exists. No other performance modifications done to the car whatsoever,
and usually
except for the fart can.
Exhaust rusted off, and so that
was the cheapest one that they could buy.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was the other one?
The daytime running lights.
Daytime
so they don't have their headlights on.
Yeah,
That's just people being oblivious.
Dude, I have flashed my brights at those people or turn my lights off.
Yeah.
You pull up next to them and they're like flipping you off.
Yeah, like what? You're like,
what are you talking about? And I'm just like, okay, dude. And like 30 seconds later, they turn their lights on.
And you're like,
and I almost want to slow down and be like, uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up we have John Hansen.
So I feel like at this age, I probably have a couple different things that irk me. I mean, I'm 34, so I guess I'm getting to the point where I can be called a disgruntled older car guy in the world of car people today. But I think the two big ones for me, Drew from Cooled Collective kind of touched on it in that latest episode with Chris, but it's that entitlement that a lot of the youth or a lot of the people getting into the car scene now, I mean, they have this feeling that they deserve a specific type of car. I mean, they have this, I have to have this $60,000 car, this, I mean, anything 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 car, they have this feeling that they deserve to have it because they see them on there. These people, these youth of today in the car scene are growing up and they're seeing people with these cars, these $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 cars, because they see them at Cars and Coffee or they see them on YouTube or Instagram or something, and they feel that they deserve to have these cars because there's people that they see on social media that have them. And it's like an entitlement that they think that they deserve them because there's other people that have them, and they don't necessarily. Don't get me wrong. There's people that definitely didn't work hard to have those cars. There's people that have had them for a long time that didn't pay that price point for them, but because they see them, they feel that they have some deserving deserve to have them factor type thing. I mean, in the scheme of the world, I mean, it's just like your mechanics who are just starting out, just starting to learn the business. They're probably glorified lube techs at this point, but they want a $14,000 Snap-on box because they see a lot of older technicians that have them, and that Snap-on box gives them a certain status. It lets them feel like they are achieving something by having that in their possession. But it's like, that doesn't help you do your job better. It doesn't make you a better mechanic. It's just a big expense that you have sitting around that you haven't even necessarily earned yet. Like, all you've done is earn the debt. And so what could make you better at your job? Like, why not buy cheap tools that you can afford and then learn to be a better mechanic and then enhance your tools over time? And it's just kind of how I feel with cars also. I mean, you don't need to start your life in a Porsche 911 or a Ferrari or a brand new Mustang or whatever type of car you're into. I think the other one for me, and I mean, it's probably tied somewhat into these, whether it's coincidence or straight up, but
John is not actually a robot, FYI.
It's just, that was recorded. I just wanted, before we move on to the next one, yes. I mean, it's interesting that people will assume anything of people. Like, everybody looks at my social media, and I don't try to make it seem this way.
Oh, you're a rich dude.
I'm a rich dude.
You asshole.
Yeah, I'm absolutely rich, even though I'm basically eating macaroni and cheese.
Trashing that car, just abusing it for the gram. That's all you're doing.
There are multiple times where we have fed the kids decent food, and I've had macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I just don't have a lot of money. And it just, to do the car stuff and the things that we do and the things we like to do as a family too, there's sacrifices to be made. There's no richness here. And I think that the fact that people will instantly make that judgment kind of alludes to what people are doing. If they're instantly making that a judgment, they're probably trying to be that person themselves, or there's some envy there. You can usually tell what people envy by what they attack.
Sure.
Right? So, or what they
obviously struck a chord with,
or
them,
what
right?
what they think is valuable by what they attack.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's kind of a bummer to see that. All right, next one.
All right, so yeah, it's still John, or maybe a robot pretending to be John.
Yeah, John 9000.
The YouTube famous car people who it's shock value. It's not that they're appreciating the cars. It's not that they're doing something with them. It's not that they're flipping them for a profit. It's the whistling diesels of the world. And I mean, there's whatever absolutely. He makes a ton of money. He makes a ton of content. You can say whatever you want about it, but I'm going to weld a giant cage on top of a Skyline GTR to put another GTR on top of it and drive around, or I'm going to go jump this G-Wagon 600 feet and wreck it into a bank because it gets views. Like, I think it's one of the worst things that happens in automotive culture right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is not this.
He went more in depth. I cut some of it out. Robot 3000 did.
This human reaction to negative or weird shit existed way before the internet.
Yeah.
Just look at the nightly news. Okay, so it wasn't always firemen rescuing cats from trees.
Yeah.
And it's only gotten worse and worse with the
No, you're right. It's always been you show what's most dramatic and terrible.
And I think that just is like an androgenetic response, or I don't even know what the word is, but it kind of gets your, like,
it's the caveman lizard brain.
It's
right?
the caveman lizard brain. It gets your adrenaline going almost, of like, oh,
you see the car crash. You got to look at the car crash.
You got to look. You got to find out what's going on. And what's bad is that it has become too easy to have your opinion heard. It has become too easy for you to get out what you think other people should see, when in reality, nobody should see anything that you're doing. Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, everybody, there's a platform for everybody for anything now.
Yes, you're saying most of the stuff you're seeing isn't worthy of being broadcast out in the world.
No, it really isn't. And it's these little microcosms of 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and maybe several thousand people of a million see it, but it's still, in my opinion, too much half the time. Yeah, so I think the shock value thing is interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes, because it has to be this ever evolving process, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Has to get
now
better.
that we've welded a GTR on top of another,
Okay, he referenced that.
does it exist?
What?
Does that exist? This welding a Skyline GTR on top of another one?
Yeah, that's what Whistling Diesel did.
I don't know. So here's the thing.
Did he mention that? I didn't even.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought I cut that part out.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
I do not consume car content.
Yeah.
I know that's crazy.
I've seen a lot of,
but I
Whistling Diesel's
generally don't.
Massive YouTube account.
I generally don't. And I probably should consume more if we're creating it.
What my favorite was, so he just loves big diesel trucks. Like that's his thing. He's a farm boy who got rich. And what I love though is
why did he get rich?
From YouTube.
Okay.
He puts he did like dualies on both axles, these massive tractor tires. So the whole truck would actually float. And then he went out to like the Gulf of Mexico or something and got pulled over by the harbor police or it's whatever. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
A lot of it is just him ruining stuff for the lols, right?
I think it's a bummer because there is really great content on YouTube.
Yes, there is.
There is extremely good content, cars and otherwise, which is why you should come to the film festival.
I was just going to say.
So you can see us recognize some of it because we're going to try and recognize good quality content and give exposés on that and get that stuff some recognition that it deserves because there is a lot of crap. There really is. And think of it in terms of, I don't know if this really applies or not, but if you think of the Olympics, right?
Yep.
What if every year no Olympic records happened, no world records?
Okay.
It was the same every year and people were just separated by fractions of a second.
Sure.
Would you be that interested in watching it if there wasn't potential for a new level of human excellence?
No, I suppose not.
Like
that's the argument of like, all enhancing drugs should be allowed in professional sports because we just want to see things get crazier and crazier.
Why not? I want to see somebody throw a football 150 yards.
Exactly.
Let's make it a 6-down game and have the field be 250 yards. Why not?
And everyone's just jacked on steroids.
So everybody has to like. If you're a guy, and this is something that people do when they start up YouTube channels, I think, and I am not an expert on YouTube channels, but from my perspective, if you're going to set up a YouTube channel, you have to understand that whatever you're doing to gain your audience, you have to do more of it all the time, and it has to grow and be bigger and continue to be interesting. So you have to do new and fresh things.
Right.
So whatever you're doing as your foundation, you have to understand that you're extrapolating the rest of your channel and everything else you're going to do out of that. And I tell the same people stuff like, if you want to grow. Otherwise, you're just preaching into the wind. And I've told people that about podcasts. Everybody's like, hey, I want to start a podcast. What do you think? And I'm always like, yeah, sure. It's easy to do 5-10 episodes.
Right.
It's really hard to do 100, and it's really easy to do 400.
It is?
It is. Because, dude, once you understand the formula of what you're doing, it becomes much easier to create the content. When you're at like 10 and you're like,
now
what am I going to talk about next week?
Right.
It is a real struggle. I remember that back then.
I
just
do
being like,
too.
what are we doing? What are we going to do?
Which you're right.
Now it's easy. It is
for
easy.
some reason. You're right.
And that's just how it is because the foundation of what we did, and we meandered around a little bit in the beginning, trying to find our way. And if you go back and listen to the early episodes, they're kind of, we did some of this and we did some of that. And then it kind of like boiled down into what it is today.
Right.
And I don't know if you can always do that or not with YouTube or not, but either be prepared to do that or be prepared to continually one-upsmanship yourself.
Right. Well, we are still trying new things.
What really grinds my gears?
Yeah, no. Okay, we still have more, though. We're not done.
Oh.
No, I just wanted to show that, this is a new segment, right?
Oh.
You said how we have our boiled down formula.
Yes.
And I was also very proud of my editing skills, again.
Oh, good, yes.
Yes, okay. So our friend Tony from Octoon says, my pet peeves are all pretty Porsche-specific. Like people who shit on RWB modified cars while simultaneously paying someone to cut up an impact bumper on a 964 and backdate it to a long hood. Cutting up a car is cutting up a car. That's why there's no video footage of Singer decommissioning a 964. It's an ugly process. Nakai smoking cigs while hacking a fender off for the shock value is one of the greatest marketing campaigns in the Porsche world. Is a backdate just as bad as an RWB?
That's what I'm trying to think if it's just as bad. I don't know. I guess it depends on what the motivations are. I really don't like the RWB thing very much because I think it's an appropriation of an individual, Nakai.
Yeah.
I think it's an appropriation of the
Right.
of the phenomenon of him.
Yeah, it's the formula. He's
Whereas,
cool, so I want part of that.
Right, like the Japanese thing and the RWB racing,
The Idlers,
the Idlers, the group. So it's kind of like appropriating a culture.
Right.
And backdating a car is more of like I just like how those cars look.
Right.
And I don't really give a shit. I used to care, but I don't care anymore. They made so many thousands of these fucking cars. It really, like,
Does
I
it
just
bug
don't,
you being an actual long hood owner
I don't
seeing these
care.
backdates and like, well, that's not the real thing.
I used to
Mine's the
care.
real thing.
I used to care.
Yeah.
But I don't, it depends on the execution, first of all.
Yeah.
You can do it very poorly.
Sure.
But overall, I don't care. What's the difference between doing that and having a Rabbit that's like a Westmoreland GTI and thinking, I like the round headlights better, and taking the core support off and putting round headlights on there?
You're right. It's
Who
the same.
cares? I honestly, I don't care. The RWB thing, it's a different thing. I think you're appropriating a culture and a man. And usually, I mean, the body kits are so expensive. Usually the cars that have the body kit done, they look like they could drive upside down, but they still have like stock engines.
100%.
Some of the RWB stuff can be quite good.
Yeah.
High performance, and that's a little bit different.
Yes. Okay. Last one here, Chris.
Hey guys, I have a couple different problems with car culture in the United States. I think specifically if we're talking about car culture and not design or industry, my main beef right now is with online influencers and their obsession with Italian sports cars and SUVs and other high-end luxury vehicles. It seems like everywhere I look online, there's a 20-year-old with a Lamborghini that they've rented or their parents bought, and they're trying to pass it off on their own, as if owning something that needs a $10,000 engine-out oil change is the peak success. I've always felt that flaunting wealth like that is pretty tasteless. It also doesn't help much that these displays of wealth are normally associated with high-end watches or other luxury fashion items. I think it's pretty gross. Other problems with car culture is probably the fault of millennials like us. I think our obsession with the car...
Oh, yeah, well, we got to address one thing at a time.
Okay.
First of all, this isn't not new.
No.
I think back when I was in high school, and the platform is just bigger.
You're right.
So the assholes have a bigger platform to be assholes.
So you see more assholes.
That's really is. Nobody wants to see assholes. They fucking stink.
Yeah.
That's where pretty
So
much
it's not
what it
new.
comes down to.
Okay.
It's not new. It's more prolific.
Yeah.
And I think the desire to do it is,
I guess what
here's the thing. These people think that they can rule over more people. When you were in high school and shit like that, it was, just like few yuppies and rich kids
right.
driving in their whatever car they had that was the nicest car in the entire, 11th grade or whatever it was. So they reached 300 people. Now the platform is just way bigger.
Right.
So now they went from like a tiny asshole to a big asshole.
I guess what's frustrating is it still gets a lot of attention. Right?
Of course it did. It did then too. I mean, that's the hot chicks like that guy.
All right.
Fuck that guy.
that we grew up with has caused a really wild used car market. I've been driving for about 20 years, and when I got my license, piece of shit cars from the 80s and early 90s were in abundance, and I think could be had for less than $1,000. But trying to buy even crappy examples of these cars these days is going to set me back at least $5,000 to $7,000. I was recently looking for a late 80s, early 90s F-150 for kind of a fun project, and even rusted out pieces of crap were going for exorbitant sums. I think a lot of that's driven by nostalgia that we have for that era, but also I think probably about 15 years ago, Cash for Clunkers took a ton of these off the road, so there's not as much stock as there was. My last gripe is when it comes to car design.
Who is this, by the way?
This is a buddy of mine, non-attributed.
Non-attributed. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but it is what it is. There's the nostalgia, a big part of that, and the Cash for Clunkers thing did get rid of a huge amount of cars.
Yeah,
which is
that's sad.
I always forget about that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I forget the stats, but it was like astronomical.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind in 1987 or 1989, cars in the 80s were just cars. They hadn't earned anything yet.
Yeah,
that's what I think people forget is the value of something is accrued through experience of the product.
Sure.
Right. And that is experienced by the people that are using it. And it takes time for that to build.
Right.
We'll see where things go with stuff that's out there today. I don't know. Maybe it's made in too large a quantity. Maybe it's too shitty because everybody orders everything on Amazon. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure people in the 80s with, a F-150, for example, thought the same thing. Well, this won't ever be valuable.
Yeah, but I think culture has become far more disposable now.
True.
And products are far more disposable, and people are less attached to things than they ever have been.
Yeah.
As physical objects.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
I don't know. I don't know where it goes.
I think right now my main
Okay, fuck me. Go ahead.
issue is with electric
Sorry, I hit the button.
That's good.
vehicles. I like electric cars, and it seems that the transition to electric vehicles is inevitable. But I don't understand why car companies insist on replacing all the parts on a car that work just fine with new technology. Ideally, I'd want the car I drive now, a GTI, with everything the way it is except an electric engine. But I'm unable to get that. I've looked at electric vehicles, and all the door handles are these electric pop-out door handles that have all these extra built-in failure points. Door handles in their current iteration have worked great for the past 50 years. I do not understand the need to replace them. Same thing with getting rid of HVAC knobs and analog dash gauges. All this just seems like you're setting yourself up for a $2,500 repair the second the car's out of warranty.
More than that.
Okay, that's enough belly aching from me. Y'all drive safe.
I think he answered his own question when he said it came up as a $2,500 repair. Underselling a lot. Anyway, door handles have sucked forever.
What?
They always break.
Really?
Like old golf handles and door handles. Shit's always falling apart. They all fall apart over time. I get what he's saying. The reason is progress.
Right.
If you keep cars the same, nobody's going to buy a new car, and then the companies have no reason to exist.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Period. That's it. They don't build Mercedes. If they still built a Mercedes 300D, brand new, how are they going to ever?
Well, do you remember our episode about the light bulb conspiracy? Planned obsolescence.
That's right. Great episode. Dude, there's 400 episodes. I was scrolling back and looking through them the other day.
Know.
There's so much good shit back there, guys.
You know what else is back there?
What?
That not everyone has access to. We have a whole back catalog of exclusive episodes on our Drivers Club.
Yes.
Over crestproductions.com/Drivers Club for as little as $5 a month. You get access to all those. You get some other benefits as far as access to merch early on, a discount on the rally. You get
prints. You can get prints. You can get t-shirts. You get to feel good about yourself.
That's true too.
Who doesn't want that?
I don't know.
Who doesn't want to feel good about themselves?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why
exactly. What is this? How much is a Red Bull now?
Oh God, I don't even know.
$2.99. A Red Bull and a half.
Yeah.
Support the show.
There you
That's
go.
simple. I know the problem is, and I understand this, is it's like an extra thing to do. It's an extra thing to do. It's another $5 fee every month, and you don't want to do it. You want to click the button and go through. Stop being so lazy. Jesus. Support the show. $5. What are you doing?
Oh man.
Many thanks to all those that aren't lazy.
There you go.
That aren't you. The lazy person, they're not like you. They're better than you. Is it too much?
A little too much.
A little too much.
Little too much.
Too late.
Okay.
Lazy fucks.
Well, how about we talk about a little bit of news?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So,
by the way, guys, I'm kidding. I love all our listeners. I'm kidding.
Thank you for saying that. Jesus Christ. So, Chris, do you remember when BMW first started releasing hideous new models with obscenely large grills? We saw memes of the ever bigger grills on BMWs with the inevitable conclusion that the car was going to be nothing but a grill, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Did you see their
it's happening.
Their prototype car that raced at Daytona?
No.
Oh my God, the grill, like the intake on the front,
right?
It just looks like it should just drive right through the cars and like shoot the other cars out the other side of the car. It's huge. There's just these big, huge grills on the front. They're not giving up.
No. So BMW has filed a patent application for grills that include headlights. That's right. BMW is potentially planning on making their grills so large that the headlights will simply be integrated into them.
Is it going to be like an LED thing around the grill that's just like,
yeah,
because
we've
had like lights integrated with grills forever, right? I mean, think about a Rabbit. They've got like the grill, the plastic goes around, the lights are in it. I don't understand what this patent is.
Well, in addition, the patent allows lighting elements to even be used to project a, quote, digital version of the BMW twin kidney grill on a grillless front fascia, since EVs don't actually need grill openings at all.
Yeah, right.
So it's just going to be like a blank creepy looking front of a car, like a faceless thing.
Yeah, and then the
they
lights
turn it
come
on
on.
and all the lights come on.
Yeah,
And
D.
it
That's
shows
the
big-
D concept. I think that integrated that terribleness.
It's terrible. Well, besides ridiculous grills, BMW is actually working on something productive. Together, in partnership with the U.S. battery technology company Solid Power, BMW will be starting testing on solid-state batteries. So the batteries, which derive their name from their solid electrolytes, promise improved range and shorter charge times.
These aren't lithium ion, right? They're not lithium.
Lithium ion is still a liquid type battery.
So this doesn't have any liquid. It's not as combustible.
Correct. It's safer. It's actually cheaper. And it is
no cobalt
quicker.
too, right? There's
that I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I want to say there's no cobalt in those as well.
That would be great.
So this is just a giant capacitor, is what I perceive these batteries to be, like a really high capacity capacitor.
Yeah, but capacitors, like they put all their energy out at once. You know what I mean?
Do they? They do. They do have to release all their energy at once.
Capacitors are just off, on, off. You charge it and then,
dude, you just invented nitrous for EVs. Why not? You could have it in a shape like a NOS bottle, but
it's just a giant capacitor. That if you accidentally touch it,
it could be a pull-up. Like, dude, how many caps do you think that guy's got?
How many caps?
Yeah,
I like it.
Oh,
so
I don't know. I think it's like at least 1 million farads.
Oh, that's
man.
right. Yeah, the ferret. That was a good callback.
Yeah.
I like that. Quote, BMW remains committed to the pursuit of all solid-state batteries, a technology which we believe has significant potential for the future, said Frank Weber, who is BMW's head of R&D.
I think those batteries also don't degrade as bad over time.
That could be.
I think that they...
What I'd be curious about is their cold weather performance, because as we know...
you know who's the best
don't
cold weather performance? I think like Jaguar does.
Really?
Yeah, I think their batteries are really good.
That's interesting to me. Actual testing of these BMW batteries in a prototype vehicle is scheduled for 2025 or before, where we're not going to see an actual vehicle with the batteries in production until 2030. That date is similar to what other automakers like Nissan and Volkswagen are working towards with their solid-state tech as well. Now, speaking of EVs,
wait,
Chris,
I want to look. What is in a solid-state battery?
Okay.
First result, I said, what is a solid-state battery made of? First result, materials.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks for that.
Anode materials comprise carbon,
titanates,
lithium alloys, and metallic lithium. Cathode materials are oxides, phosphates, vanadium oxide, and future microstructural materials. I don't see cobalt in there.
Type in
solid-state batteries require up to 35% more lithium than current lithium-ion battery technology.
Oh, good.
But they use far less graphite and cobalt.
Okay.
Well,
you know,
at least we're only going to ruin the world. We won't just ruin people's lives by making them slaves.
Well, yeah.
Instead, we'll just
they find lithium down in Congo as well.
Pump millions of gallons of water into the earth and just destroy it.
Yeah.
Strip mine it. It's amazing that we're destroying entire like ecosystems
but
to do this, but nobody's saying anything.
It's green, Chris.
Nobody's green. You need to buy recycled fucking toilet paper to wipe your ass with because of the rainforest. But this, don't worry about it.
It's
no
good.
problem.
It's green.
Just
Don't worry.
overlook it.
Yeah. You know, speaking of EVs,
he's so bad. The hypocrisy.
Oh, I agree. And we've talked about it.
Like, and the thing is that like pointing out hypocrisy does not affect a change. It doesn't fix it.
Yeah.
But it just drives me nuts that it exists in the first place, and it isn't. Nobody notices.
You're right. It's not common knowledge that these materials required are so terrible.
No more oil. Go ahead.
Right.
Greta Thunberg.
Speaking of EVs, regardless of how good batteries get, they are still limited by the charging network itself, right? We talked about this ad nauseum as well. Well, Electrify America recently announced on Monday.
We had them on the podcast.
Yes, we did. They released an agreement on Monday with Travel Centers of America, aka the TA stations
truck stop
you see all across the freeway. Yeah, to install EV fast chargers at all of their truck stops. Every single one of them. According to the companies, the effort will bring, quote, next generation fast chargers every 50-mile interval across the country.
Wow, that's incredible.
That is incredible. So there you go. Even if charger networks are no longer a problem for electric vehicles, we need to remind everyone that they are not, in fact, self-driving, though.
Yes.
Last Tuesday, Tesla was subpoenaed by Justice Department over the automaker's claims of, quote, full self self-driving features.
How did that play out? Is it over with now?
No, as far as we know, Tesla has come under fire multiple times over the years for its driver assist features, particularly, quote, full self-driving, which, despite the name, does not allow a car to drive itself. The head of the NTSB in 2021 called the label misleading and irresponsible, and California has deemed it completely illegal. Currently, Tesla said that, to our knowledge, no government agency in any ongoing investigation has concluded that any wrongdoing occurred. We didn't do anything wrong, guys, but they are investigating it. So we'll just have to wait and see what became of it.
Mercedes has legal level 3.
I did.
In Nevada, they've got some legal. What is level 3?
Tell us about that right now. You have this right here.
All right. You do it. I'm lost. I don't have the notes open.
Okay. Well, we now have the first legal level 3 driving system. It's not Tesla, despite the name and capabilities of its advanced driver assist system offered by many automakers. No system offered in a production vehicle has ever qualified for level 3 self-driving capability, according to SAE rules.
Until now.
That is about to change. Yeah. Thursday, Mercedes-Benz announced the 2024 S-Class and EQS sedans will feature Drive Pilot, a level 3 system that will be capable of operating legally in Nevada, beginning in the second quarter of the year. Why Nevada? I'm not sure.
Because there's nobody there.
Yeah. To qualify as a level 3 system by the SAE's definition, a system, quote, can drive the vehicle under limited conditions and will not operate unless all conditions are met. The definition also states the driver is not driving the vehicle when these automated driving features are engaged, even if they are in the driver's seat. Okay, that's interesting. You're not legally not driving the car when the system is engaged.
Okay,
That's
so
what
that
it
is
states.
so you are not legally responsible. That is
correct.
That takes
That's what I'm taking out of it.
the legal liability out of your hands completely.
That's crazy to me.
So who insures the vehicle then?
I don't know. Yeah, it's
like
a
if something
whole
happens,
can of worms.
if something happens, who's responsible? Like who? Like,
Well, however, the driver
this is going to have to be litigated.
Okay. The driver must be ready to take over control when the conditions for the system to work are not met or when the system requests it. So this is why, if you know, like hear a lot of things about Tesla, any of their crashes, and people claim autopilot was engaged. If the system knows that a crash is imminent, it will deactivate autopilot like a second before the crash. Wasn't the driver? It wasn't our system's fault. System wasn't activated when it crashed. I think we're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, I think who is responsible is going to be litigated very soon, and you're going to see some.
And the system
So what happens,
wasn't on exactly.
So what
when
happens
it crashed.
if you don't take control of this thing? If it says take control and you
It
don't,
probably just turns off.
No, it tells you. Fucking read it. It's right there. I wrote it down.
Oh, okay. Mercedes said Drive Pilot has met the requirements of the Nevada Chapter 482
blah, 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 blah,
for
blah.
autonomous vehicles, makes the system in California later this year. Drive Pilot will work on freeway and high traffic situations at speed up to 40. It will be able to take control of the speed, distance, and vehicles ahead and keep the vehicle in its lane. It will automatically react to traffic signs and occurrences on the route. The system is engaged by buttons on the steering wheel, and these buttons will indicate when the system is available for use.
Here we go.
If the driver fails to take control when the system requests it, it will pull the vehicle over in its lane, turn on the hazard lights, unlock the doors, and activate its emergency call system.
This is this is like, you know, when you accidentally like have your phone in your pocket and it dials 911.
Dude, I just did this last week. Did I tell you this?
This is the ultimate expression of that.
Yeah. Wow.
So can you imagine? Like if you're in the back seat, it's getting steamy.
Oh,
it's
okay.
night out.
Yeah.
The car like starts to pull over to the side of the road. I mean, you're into it. You're focused.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's
the
calling
doors are
911,
unlocked.
The doors unlocked and the hazards are going on.
Yep. So what do you do?
That's a mood ruiner right there.
That is a mood ruiner. So what do you do? Do you finish or do you take off? What do you think?
Oh,
you got to calculate the amount of time it's going to take for the authorities to get to the vehicle.
Yeah, you finish and hopefully
I don't know. All this stuff. I'm really torn between the fact that I really don't like commuting.
I like this system though. Will pull you over if it's like I can't do it.
Fine. The whole thing of like the autonomously driving car. I like not having to commute.
Yes.
It sucks. I do not like it.
Yes.
However, I still see it as a slippery slope to the erosion of personal autonomy.
I agree.
So that's why I don't like it. I don't know where this goes over the next 20, 30 years. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to do any more news? What
think
do we
that's
have for
it.
time? I don't know.
I think we're good. I think we're going to call it. I think we're going to call it. We have On Friday,
Yes.
by the way,
What?
I lost my train of thought completely. On Friday, we have Tim from BBI Autosport coming on to talk about everything BBI, his time at Porsche Motorsport, manufacturing,
history,
what it's like to, what kind of bloody knuckles he had to earn to get where he is today.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. What it's like to design in this industry today, because they make almost everything in house. They build their engines there. Which
I didn't know. Yeah,
it's really, really incredible. So we're going to talk to him. I'm really looking forward to that. You're actually probably on vacation right now, as everybody is listening to this.
I am on the beach in South Padre Island.
So everybody send Jake messages right now.
You know what I'm going to do though?
Turn your phone off?
No, I'm going to go to SpaceX launch facility down there.
Oh, they have one?
That's where all SpaceX products come out of now.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought they were in Fort Lauderdale.
No, they're Texas. Remember Elon moved everything to Texas?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a very southern tip of Texas where it meets Mexico is where all Tesla rockets come from now.
Got it.
Not Tesla, SpaceX.
Okay. Tesla, well.
Same damn thing.
Yeah, not well.
So there's a scheduled launch like right when I arrive that day.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, they don't have a time. What if you could see it from the plane?
That would be sick.
Also, sometime that week, they're supposed to be launching the first ever full stack launch of the Super Heavy with Starship on it.
Nice.
And do a full orbit.
So if anybody wants to contribute to their new segment, what should they do?
Good question. I think the best.
We do have a voicemail.
Exactly. Call us on our voicemail. 612.
Oh, you
Lug
have this?
Belt.
What is it?
612 Lug Belt. I'm pretty sure.
Lug Belt. Hold on. It's got to be in the Drivers Club.
It's in the Drivers Club. It's also on the website. So I'm just going to go there right now.
I'm going to race you. We're going to see who gets the
well, I know exactly where it is. 612-584-0235.
And I will start checking those voicemails again. What is that number again?
612 Lug Belt.
Lug 0 or Lug
0 Belt.
Lug
it doesn't
0
actually
belt.
work. I just tried to come up with something clever. 612-584-0235. All
right, give us a call and we'll play
what
your
really
voicemail
grinds your gears
or if you just have any comments. But yeah, I think that was a fun segment.
All right,
man. We will see you guys next week.
Take care.